Welcome back to my channel. Today, the subject for our discussion is cubes versus squares. All the time, I have been explaining you about these 14 lokas, but I never told you whether, let us say, here, this is the Pascal's triangle. I never told you whether this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and to 14, let us say 14, whether they are squares or cubes. Okay, so to know the whole story, we need to know the basics of the concept of basically black hole. The black hole, there are many theories about black hole. It is like the highest plane of thinking, and there were two scientists who had opposite views on black holes. They were the first one being Stephen Hawking, the second one being Leonard Susskind. Most of you might have heard about Stephen Hawking. He is very popular, but only those who are familiar with physics may know Leonard Susskind. Leonard Susskind, for your information, he is the founder of string theory, the modern day string theory, or rather one of the founders. And later Dr. Brian Greene has popularized the concept of string theory, but the original founder, the genius behind string theory, is definitely Leonard Susskind. And what the contention was between these two? The contention between these two was that Stephen Hawking said once the black hole reaches singularity, that is, the black hole goes on shrinking, becoming denser, and at one point it becomes a single point. That is called the singularity. And when it becomes singularity, all the information contained in the black hole is permanently lost. It cannot be retrieved. He said. But Leonard Susskind had entirely opposite opinion. He said, no, the black hole may become a point, but all the information of the black hole will be available on the surface of the black hole. Let me explain one simple concept, mathematical formula here. The formula for volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cube. That is, stress is on cube. And the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Right? So what Susskind was telling was that this information contained in the sphere 4/3 pi r cube will be available and scattered on the surface 4 pi r squared of the sphere, on the surface of the sphere. Why I told you about all this is the eternal fight between the cubes and the squares. We are caught in between those two. What must have happened when Yalvat? I think I have to once again give a brief about for those who are not familiar with my videos. I will briefly tell you about the Gnostic Cosmos. Gnostic Cosmos, as those who are familiar with my videos know, that the Gnostic Cosmos has the Father, thinking is Father, Mother is thought, the One, both together they are called the One, and the child. They have a child who is Christ, and his spouse is Sophia. And here you below them you have spiritual anthropos, or he are called the Gerardimus. Gerardimus has a spouse Zoe, and below that you have somewhere here it is a fallen Sophia. Fallen Sophia in a weak moment, and we can call it rebellious moment. She thought that why do I need the God to create? Why can't I create on my own? There is a golden rule in the heaven. There are 12 ions, and each have their spouse. They are twins. They are called syzygies, in fact, in Gnostic terms. And the golden rule was that no spouse should do anything without informing and taking permission of the other spouse. All the 12 ions are male and female twins, and those twins, either of the twins, should inform the other before doing anything. But here, in this case, Sophia, fallen Sophia rather, did not inform Christ about what she was about to do. She thought, I don't need Christ to create a child, or create, in their terms, creation is everything. It's not just a child. So the instant she got that thought, the gods are so powerful that their thoughts take form. So Sophia's thought took form, and Yaldabaoth was the result. Yaldabaoth, who had the face of a lion and the tail of a snake. So when Sophia looked at her child, she was frightened. She thought the other gods, other aeons will definitely hate her for doing this, and they will make fun of her. So, for fearing that, she created a bubble kind of thing, luminous cloud, and she hid Yaldabaoth in that cloud. That is nothing but this 6 cube. 6 cube, let us go further. So, Yaldabaoth, after being born, the only person he was in contact with was his mother. He could hear his mother through the border. The one looking like water here is the border between heaven and abyss. There was no abyss earlier. Because of fallen Sophia's creation of Yaldabaoth, this abyss formed. So, Yaldabaoth immediately fell into the abyss. So, uh, so Sophia hid him in this luminous cloud. When Yaldabaoth looked at the heaven from here, the same principle that Leonard Susskind explained, that this is like a black hole for this guy because it's so distant and so far away that it is like a singularity for this guy, and that information on this singularity, when he looked up at the sky, at the heaven, he saw the projection of heaven here in 2 dimensions, not 3 dimensions. This heaven, 16 cube, all are cubes, till 6 cube, all are cubes, and those cubes projection he saw on the bottom. And the projection was itself was 2 dimensional. So he thought that, okay, this is all there is. So he thought he would create on his own a heaven of his own. So he basically, instead of 16 cube, he took the form of 6 cube, because 16 cube was God here. He modeled himself after the God, and he created 15 more squares. 15 squares like this. Like this, there he created 15 squares. 1 to 15 squares he created. Of these squares, he created this egg. In the sense, this egg had 14 lokas, as we call in Hindu mythology, or 14 realms. So 1 to 14 realms were contained in this egg. 14th was the highest. That is why in Hindu mythology we call this our reality the Brahmanda. Brahma Anda. Brahma is universe, Anda is egg. So this is the universal egg. This universal egg he created from 14 squares. 15 square, what happened to 15 square was, 15 square could not be squeezed into this egg because this is 6 cube, which is literally 216, 216. Its value is 216, and 15 squared is 225. So though he created all this, the O guy, 15 squared is nothing but, from the beginning I have been telling you, I denote the numbers with alphabets A, B, C, D, and so on. The 15th alphabet of English letters is O. So this O guy, Osiris guy, created this 6 cube, and but he could not squeeze into this egg himself. 15 squared remained outside. Okay, so when we look at this here, this is a 6 cube Yaldabaoth, the universal egg, or the Brahmanda as we call it. This Brahmanda, just above that, we have Osiris, who is 15 squared, who could not squeeze into 6 cube, and this small cube that I call the 6 cube is made out of 14 squares, not 14 cubes. So from in fact, I myself did not get this thought earlier. I didn't feel like explaining this because I didn't realize that I was confusing you with squares and cubes. We should clearly distinguish between cubes and squares. This is the world of cubes. They have they are the original creator gods. Everyone in this region can create. Here we are just created. We are we are not creators, but we are created once. So we cannot create on our own. We don't have the depth. And I will give you a simple analogy here. That being, when you go to watch a 3D movie in theater, they give you kind of specs, goggles to watch the 3D. If you remove the goggles, what do you see? Just you will see some colors patched up, patchwork of colors, right? Random colors, that's it. Just patches of colors. When you put on the 3D glasses, you will see everything clearly. And you will feel as if you are in real 3D world, right? That's exactly what he did with us. This whole thing, what we see here, as I explained yesterday, we are in this bubble. Okay, this is a flat earth. Everything is flat here. When you peep out of this bubble, you can see the 3D objects. This is the real three-dimensional world. This is two-dimensional world. What he did was, like we put on goggles. Here he put us in these squares, 14 squares, 14 squares, and he provided our senses, these eyes, let us say, this sight. Sight is the main one through which we visualize the world around us. So that sight through the eyes, what he did was he provided a 3D goggles like thing so that we can see everything in 3 dimensions. But in reality, everything is 2 dimensional here. That is why when you look at most of the temples in the world, from above, from sky, if you see them, they look like concentric squares, right? 7 squares, mostly 7 squares. Depends on the temple, the deity, and all, the region, and all, the pyramids, everything. Most of them look like squares from above. One there is a base square, big square, on which a smaller square, on which another smaller, and that goes on till you reach the top. Okay, and at the end you will have a flag pole or something, and you will have a flag hoisted. Why they look like squares from above? Why not they look like circles? Because that is original actual design. Though we see everything in 3 dimensions, they are actually, we are living in a square world, 2 dimensional world, which is made to look like 3 dimensions. That is the reason why we have basically, I have explained earlier. I don't know if I have that with me. No. Here, this is the one. So this is a Hindu concept of the universe. This middle portion is the earth, flat earth, like a flat disk. This is the moon, this is the sun, this is Meru Parvata, and this is the lower world. This is the Patala. There are 7 Patalas, 7 heavens. So a total of 14 worlds. This is how it actually looks like. But since he provided us with goggles, this guy, it looks like three-dimensional world. So yeah, have I missed out anything? Yeah, basically, so if you compare the size of our world, this is from here to here. This small cube is our world, whereas this big cube is the universe. Universe in the sense perceivable universe. I won't call it universe because actual universe is far bigger. Like this we were thinking the small cube is our universe. He made us think so, but this is far bigger than this. There will be bigger universes than this too, as I told earlier. It is endless. So the other thing I wanted to tell you is this anything above 6 cube. That is why most of the Christian schools of thought compare Christ with 777. 777 is not literally 777 number, it is 7 cube. And they assign the 666 to the beast. So above this 6, from 7 onwards, they are basically ions. And the our immediate original God is 16 cube. So from 7 cube to 16 cube, let us say, they are ions, the original ions. Below 6 cube, these 14 squares are actually not ions, they are archons. So now you get the difference, right? Ion between these are archons, the ones here which are controlling us, the planets, through planets and these worlds. Matrix, Saturn matrix, basically are called archons. These are ions. And the other most important thing is 6 cube is basically carbon based life form, and the ones in the heaven are silicon based life forms. 6 cube versus rather 14 cube versus 6 cube. That is basically what I wanted to explain today. Anything more I wanted today? So basically, he makes us believe that this 14 squared itself, these 14 lokas, is the universe, Brahmanda, but it is not so. But one thing true about this is once you break this 14 square, this level, 14th level, you will end up in the 7 cube, which is immediately after 6 cube. So it is kind of heaven. So that part is true. But these 14 lokas, the higher 7 lokas above earth being heavens is false. They are false heavens. From 7 to 14, they are false heavens. They are not true heaven. So yeah, I think it's getting very big. Let us conclude it here, and let us meet some other time with some other subject. The subject line would be cubes versus squares. Thank you very much for watching the video. Bye.